Hope all is well with everybody. Happy Tuesday. Welcome in. If you were watching this later on YouTube, this won't be posted probably until after the masterclass. I have all the videos posted up until our masterclass scheduled on the 25th. So if you're seeing this afterwards, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a replay for everybody else that gets it after the class. We will see how not only impactful the master class is, but also how I'm feeling, because I think I might be putting it into the Balanced Body bundle to go with the not that master class, to go into the program, rather, not the bundle, but to go into the program to support my people that are in the program, so that way they have a master class that they can watch on their own time and not have to attend and be there specifically because this is talking about energetics rather than actual action plans and etc., which we will be discussing that in the class of starting an action plan for you. But in the program specifically, I work with my clients to make an action plan to set up the habits that are going to help them be able to create the lifestyle that they're looking for when it comes to them living a healthier lifestyle, and doing that through a holistic plant-based environment. So in that masterclass, we will be diving a little bit into that, which is a very, very key component to you not only stabilizing your foundation, but also is a little insight into the program to help them be able to see more in depth of what I do and how I work with women, specifically because it seems like I'm having a lot of women that are interested in the masterclass, as well as some men, but more women, majority. That's my audience. But if you are new here, hi, my name is Kendra. I'm a plant-based lifestyle strategist. I'm here to support you in understanding exactly how to heal the body from the inside out, reverse anything that you have going on, using food as your medicine first, and then figuring out all the little key aspects that are keeping you from your health goals, whether it's products that you use or foods that you consume, or whether it's medicine that you consume, because people don't realize and make the connection between all of the different aspects that they are poisoning themselves. And so when we get in the space of thinking, okay, well, I do eat healthy because I eat a salad every once in a while, and I do diet culture, I work out, but you don't realize that you're poisoning yourself with the products that you use. You don't understand the energy leaks that you're having because every single day you spike your blood sugar. These are just little aspects of your life that tie in together, and they add up over years to come. And so what I'm here and what I specialize in to help you be able to figure out and to pinpoint and to get to the root cause and to help reverse and to fix is us getting away from all of the different small little habits that are slowly leading us to a chaotic lifestyle later on. That's leading us to be dependent on Western medicine, dependent on a doctor, dependent on a prescription, or waiting to have a surgery later in life because this is what you view as getting older. And so for that masterclass that I'm having that is on balanced energy and balanced body overall, it's deeper than just using food as your medicine, but actually understanding the energy leaks that come from you not having the correct habits of a healthy foundation. Understanding the fact that in order for you to balance your energy, you have to balance your blood sugar. You have to understand how blood sugar impacts you every single day, with you waking up and feeling fatigued, with you going to sleep and you being wired and trying to figure out why all of a sudden before you go to sleep, your body has all this energy that you didn't have throughout the day. A lot of you are not realizing that you're not night owls, but in reality, the reason why you stay up all throughout the night, or that you can't rest and you have to go to sleep before work, so you're forcing yourself to go to sleep, is because your blood sugar is so spiked and you have no stabilizers. And so since your blood sugar is spiked and you have no stabilizers, now your body is trying to keep you awake so that you stay alive, because it's having to do all these processes to fix the overload of insulin. Because when you are in a space where insulin resistance is happening, your cells are no longer responding to sugar correctly. And so your pancreas has to work overtime to expel any sugar that you have eaten today that is toxic, and then fix and compensate for the overload of sugar that is trying to push out to make you have some type of energy. And this goes into the space of you having a block when it comes to you releasing. And so then now you have an energy leak, because you have a block in your health. And when you are having that energy leak that is happening, that is causing your organs to work overtime, which is causing you to stay awake throughout the night. And then it's causing you to wake up with fatigue. because the body is not able to rest and to reset like it's supposed to, but instead is trying to keep you alive and overcompensate. And so this is what we're going to be diving deeper into for you to understand why that block is there and then why the leakage is happening. Because people are complaining about how they have no energy, so then they're drinking coffee or depending on sugar throughout the day. And then when you finally get to the end of the day, when you're supposed to be finally wiring down and resting, now you have all the energy in the world. That's backwards. And the reason why it's so backwards is because you have no stabilizers. Stabilizers with food is the key component to why so many people have diabetes or lacking stabilizers. Not realizing what stabilizers are and then over consuming, or better yet, people thinking that they're fasting and they're doing it in an effective way, and they don't realize when you fast and you have no stabilizers and you don't set yourself up to fast, that you put your body in an insulin resistant state, which is panic. And when your body is in that panic mode, it cannot do what it's supposed to do during that fast effectively to make you feel good and to see the correct results. But instead, a lot of people are getting the repercussions of not doing it correctly, just like you do diet culture and you do it incorrectly. So you feel good in that moment because maybe you are losing weight. Maybe you're shedding the water weight. Maybe you feel lighter because the bloating has gone away. But then you have a headache. Now you have no energy for you to be able to get up and do things. And then you switch back to your old lifestyle of eating food, and now you feel sluggish and you can't figure out why. Thank you for the likes. But it's because you have a block inside the body that you haven't got to the root of. And since you haven't gotten to the root of that block, now you're going to be sitting here dealing with the instability of the energy leaks. Because your body is panicking, trying to figure out where to get something correct, where to change. And instead of you changing your habits, your internal system is having to deal with all the stress that you're putting on it. The physical stress, the emotional stress. Because a lot of people emotionally eat. And when you emotionally eat, usually it's something sugary. Because that's what society has programmed you into. You're going through a breakup, eat ice cream. You're having a stressed out, terrible day, eat cookies and cake. You're having a terrible time. Here's a snack. Here's a sugary snack. You have no energy? Here's a sugary snack. You've had a stressful day because of your children? Here's some sugar. Work is getting on your nerves? Here's some sugar. And this is terrible toxic sugar that is not natural. And your body recognizes this as a foreign sugar and it makes it panic. And that continuation of you putting these blocks inside of your body with the energy that you're eating is causing your energy internally to leak. Because the blocks are coming from you consuming any kind of way and not knowing what you're eating, not knowing what it's doing to the body, not understanding how it's affecting your energy levels every single day. So for my coffee drinkers that think that they're just tired and that you just stayed up all night and so you have to have coffee, what if the kicker is the fact that you've been dependent on coffee for years for energy? You've been drinking coffee for quite a while. And so you don't ever know what stabilized energy looks like and waking up with energy. You always know waking up and feeling tired and sluggish. And then hoping you get some coffee that fixes that. Because there are too many people that depend on that. And if you don't know this, majority of coffee specifically made and produced and sold in the U.S. specifically, that coffee is heavily sprayed with pesticides. A lot of y'all's coffee is full of mold. A lot of y'all's coffee is full of cockroaches. Because I can guarantee if not all three is happening inside of them, at least one is. And people don't realize that. You're going to Starbucks, you're going to McDonald's, you're going to all these places that do not care about the quality of the food as long as they're producing food for you to consume and to buy. And this is going to affect how your body internally is, not only physically, but energetically. Because that food is making your body panic. That drink is making your body panic, rather. Because that's not food. Even if the foods that you have that are coffee-based, that makes your body panic. Because are you supposed to consume pesticides? No. Do you just go around eating cockroaches? No. Do you sit here and consume mold? A lot of you do. And this is how y'all know that you do, and I'm going to make the connection. If you eat snacks with citric acid in it, and you don't know what citric acid is, Citric acid that they put inside of your processed snacks is not derived from real citrus because that costs more money. Your Doritos, Kellogg's, General Mills, all of those different brands that have citric acid in them, your drinks that have citric acid in them, majority of the time they derive their citrus from black mold. The black mold is from GMO corn because corn is genetically modified, and we know that. And they extract black mold from genetically modified corn, and they use that and put it inside of your food to prevent it from molding as a preservative. So not only are you drinking coffee with mold in it, which probably has citric acid in it as well, and that's not the only mold, but you're also eating snacks. So think about how that mold is throwing off your nervous system, how it's throwing off your immune system. Because we know what mold does to the body. That's the reason why if you have mold in your home, you're supposed to get rid of it. If you see black mold in your home, you need somebody to come treat it. So think about the fact that people are eating black mold and then they're wondering why they're so sick. You're eating black mold and you wonder why your cycle is so painful as a woman. Because I can guarantee majority of you are eating black mold if you eat processed snacks and you don't read ingredients. And I can guarantee that if you still know how to read your labels, but you don't understand how deep it goes with the misconceptions of how they label things, that you don't know which food has citric acid from black mold and which food doesn't. Because I was talking about this, I think last year, I want to say, when PepsiCo, when they bought out the Siete brand. Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. When they brought out the Siete brand, they bought out the company. And so I was looking up and I was asking before they had bought out the company, what was their citric acid made from? Because they have a couple of products that have citric acid in it. And I wanted to know, how are you doing? Welcome in, Miss D. And so they told me, and they were like, oh, we derive it from cane or we derive it from beets. That's where our citrus is made from. We don't use citrus. Like, they didn't say like it was like an orange. So I was like, oh, okay, interesting. I didn't know that you could derive it from that. So started doing more research. Thank you for the follow. Started to look deeper into it. And I was like, oh, there's plenty of different options for natural citrus. So why are the brands not using natural citrus? Did a deep dive. Went deeper. Learn the fact that it's more expensive for you to use natural citrus versus the mold that you can extract in a lab because you can get it for cents, pennies. Something compared to that company for the millions that they're making, it's pennies. Diving deeper into, okay, so who started this and where did it start from? Funny enough, so the company that started with the P that now does the Hokey Pokeys that was very, very talked about during 2020, that had one of the top ones that they were pushing for people to get. Did you know that they started the company that started deriving started deriving citric acid from the black mold in corn? They're the company that started that. Or no, it was either a company in China started it. And I'm backing it up. They started it. They sold the company to China, and now they started doing the Hokey Pokeys. I said it right the first time. I had it backwards in my brain for a second. So they started that company. They sold it to somebody in China because they saw the profit margins. They got their money, and then they started the Hokey Pokey business. I want to say this was like early 2000s when all of this, like them selling to China, happened. And to this day, companies still buy that black mold and they use it here in the US. To this day. And it didn't change just because they sold the company, and it didn't change just because all of a sudden, China took it over. They started that company for that reason. So can you only imagine what's inside those Hokey Pokeys? Knowing that there are not enough laws around food and regulations that they can get away with labeling it as citric acid and not having to tell you that it's derived from black mold. Because I don't know about you as a consumer, but I know about me. And I don't think that I just want to eat black mold. So I think that if it were to say black mold citrus or black mold instead of saying citric acid, it would make me question. It would make me go, I don't think I want to eat my daily dose of black mold today. I'm going to put this back. If they had to label it as black mold, how much money do you think the company would lose? If parents, specifically mothers, because there are tons of mothers that come on this app that are talking about how they stopped feeding their children dyes and how it's so bad for them. They had a scare with dyes and all the different things, because I've talked to these parents. And then I'm like, okay, well, do you read other labels? Like, do you know what this is from? Do you know what this is from? And usually they don't understand, or they didn't know before I brought that to their attention, that citric acid is derived from black mold usually. And their favorite snacks that are dye-free have citric acid in them. And so it's a crazy thought to think, because it takes something to trend for people to get on the internet or get on the news and start talking about how terrible and toxic it is for your kids, for people to get on and catch on. Instead of you sitting down for 2 seconds and looking to see, okay, how come this is causing my child to have all these issues with hyperactivity? And then really look into it and understand the fact that, okay, this is why my kid has so many issues around the time where it gets cold. It's not because it's flu season, but it's because they eat all this citric acid all throughout the year, and their body, their immune system is compromised because of the foods that we're eating. That citric acid from black mold is not food. That's not something I should be consuming. They want to do a test. You said I have gut issues and they want to do a test where they put a camera inside of me, but I refuse. Gut issues after antibiotics. You get anxiety, body aches, back pain, and arm pain. And that sounds exactly like an unstable gut. That's exactly what that sounds like. I talk about instability in the gut often, because I'm going to talk about this deeper in the masterclass, but I talk about this often. When you have an unstable gut, it throws off the brain. And when your brain is off, that's going to throw off every single function inside the body. So you're going to be having issues with pain. You're going to be having energy leaks. So then you're going to be sitting here dealing with the problem of you wake up with no energy. You're going to be having anxiety. You're going to be having panic attacks, depression, because the gut and the brain are directly connected. Science nicknames your gut your second brain. So them trying to put a camera inside of you to test out to see what's going on with your gut related issues, I would agree. I don't think that you need a camera for that, unless they're thinking that maybe you have leaky gut and they're trying to make sure that you don't have leaky gut, which still can be fixed without having to go in and have a camera shoved inside of you. But like I say all the time, go get your diagnosis if that is what makes you feel the most comfortable, so that you know how to treat it and fix it to get to the root cause. But you don't sit there and you get a prescription. If they gave you antibiotics that threw off your gut, that means you need to start eating foods that build your gut back up. That's how you help heal it. Because you start with, if the gut is off, you've already clarified that that is your root cause of the issue, that you took antibiotics that threw off your gut. And that's what I talk about all the time. And that's amazing that you got to the root cause, because not a lot of people can get to the root and they don't understand the root. The root is your gut related issue that came from antibiotics. And a lot of people don't realize this. And I talked about this a couple of months ago. When you're on antibiotics, did you know that they tell you not to eat like acidic foods, like pineapple for example? Why do you think that is? And I'd like for y'all to drop it in the comments for me. Why do you think it is that when you're on an antibiotic, that they ask you to not use acidic foods during the time of you taking the antibiotic? If you've taken an antibiotic, I'm pretty sure if your doctor hasn't told you this, they probably just assume that you wouldn't eat it during that time anyway. But if they know that you eat a lot of fruits, you eat a lot of vegetables, they'll suggest to you not to use any acidic foods, specifically like pineapples, during that time. They did tell me no acidic foods even now. Why do you think that is? They could be guesstimating that you have a leaky gut and they're trying to prevent the acid of your stomach from getting too high. So I could see that if they're assuming that you have a leaky gut, but they can't pinpoint it just based off of the symptoms that they've caused, because there's so many symptoms that they cause. And so they have to do all these different tests to figure out what they've caused. I'm not seeing any answers. Thank you for the follow. So I'm gonna say y'all probably don't know. If not, you haven't been on an antibiotic to be told this. I was on an antibiotic, I don't know when, at what point in high school, and They asked me questions about, do I eat a lot of acidic foods and things like that? And I was like, no, not really, not thinking about it, because at the time, like, I eat fruits sparingly. I'm in high school. Like, I'm eating big Texases for breakfast, right? And so, I found out, I want to say some months ago, that they tell people who eat a lot of fruits, because if they ask you that preference and you say no, they're not going to bring it up. But they were saying, this one woman was saying, I eat a lot of fruits, so they were telling me not to eat acidic fruits while I was on my antibiotics. And I said, interesting. Is it because it makes it less effective? And I was like, it makes it less effective? Because I'm sitting there like, why? Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. And so then I do a deep dive. I'm look on the internet doing a little deep dive, trying to figure it out. It makes it less effective because the acidity in your stomach, which is your pH balance, and the acidity from the fruit, they bind together, and it helps your immune system inside the gut, and it helps build up a good pH, so that your immune system is strong. So that way, that gut biome, goodness, I need to slow down. That good gut biome is going to make the antibiotic less likely to work, because the gut is naturally doing what it needs to do on its own. But when you're on an antibiotic, it lowers your gut acidity. So it hurts your gut pH. So during that time of your antibiotic, that's the reason why you have to do the whole full round, or all of a sudden all the symptoms and all the problems come back. And it's not because, oh, the antibiotic is not working. The antibiotic's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing, which is breaking down your gut biome and making it worse to build it back up. But all it does is throw off your pH inside the gut. And when it throws off the pH inside the gut, it throws off everything else, because like I said, your gut and your brain are directly connected. They told you no teas because that can also build up your pH inside the gut, which is going to make the antibiotic less effective. But as somebody who has not only supported myself in healing all the issues that I was having inside the body when it came to inflammation, which the gut was a part of it. Like I said, I wasn't really eating fruits, but sparingly. And all the other issues, I had developed asthma in high school. I was having painful menstrual cycles. I had to wear a knee brace from the time that I had started playing sports all the way up until I stopped playing them, and I started learning what I was doing with my body and what was going on with my body. And I started to understand how to support the system. And then I went plant-based, and it fixed all those issues that I was having going on. And then I started to understand how I can pinpoint what's going on because I'm eating the correct foods. Thank you for the shares. I really appreciate it. The only people that I have ever seen that promote and talk about eating for your blood type are the same people who are still promoting for people to eat meat and dairy. And in the space that we are in with what's going on with our society, if a doctor is promoting for you to eat for your blood type, I would go on ahead and find a new doctor. Because every single either potential client that has come to me who has tried to figure out if I'm one of those ones who is going to back exactly what their doctor is saying, and I come back and I say you don't need to eat for your blood type, or the people who I have worked with who have talked about that. Mind you, I do work with nurses. I have worked with nurses. And I talk about eating for their blood type, and they start to realize how the jargon is sounding the same as diet culture. They tell you to eat for your blood type so that way you get everything you need for your blood type. But if you're eating fruits and vegetables the same way that everybody operates, everybody needs fruits, everybody needs vegetables, what are you eating for your blood type for? Thank you for sharing the live. Because they're promoting for people who have chronic illnesses and diseases to go vegan. So explain to me how somebody can go vegan and they can go plant-based, they can eat fruits, and they can heal themselves from cancer, chronic diseases, and illnesses. No chemo, no radiation, no prescriptions. But yet you need to eat for your blood type. It don't make any sense. It is an excuse for them to eat dead animals. And that's what my point is when I talk about how, and we're going to dive deeper in my masterclass, that balanced energy is the key. And when you're sitting here eating energetically dead foods, how do you think that's impacting the body that's already stressed out? Because as somebody who was eating fruit sparingly because I thought it was an option and not a requirement, I could see how the anxiety, how the panic attacks were being fueled by the food that I was eating. because I was eating spiritually dead foods, doing diets where all I'm eating is meat and limited amount of fruits and a whole lot, because I did Whole30. Whole30 is based on you eating the most leanest, plainest meat, eating a little bit of fruit because you don't want your sugar to go too high, and then eating vegetables. The days where I was eating more vegetables than meats, I was feeling all right. The days that I was eating meats combined with vegetables, I stayed hungry all day. And I stayed hungry majority of that 30 days. Starved. Calorie counting and restricting. Starved. Like majority of people do during diet culture. And then after me getting away from that space and realizing that that's not healthy, because I'm punishing myself for being hungry. I'm punishing myself for having natural responses. That's not normal. And I got into the space of realizing it's not about how much you're eating. It's a matter of what you're eating. Because the quality of what you're eating is going to make you feel full or not. So when you're not eating quality foods, you can't get filled. So think about that when you're sitting here eating your most favorite meal possible and you're sitting here like, man, I'm hungry in 30 minutes. How much nutrients was in that food? What was it lacking? And majority of the time, it's your blood sugar that is needing stabilizers that you're not stabilizing. And so that's going to cause an energy leak, because you're having to compensate for what you're lacking. And the body is having to work overtime to compensate what you're lacking. You said I've been bigger for 9 years, but I think I'm sick now because I ate meat for a long time. Not everybody who is eating on a plant-based lifestyle is doing it effectively and correctly. And then not everybody who goes to it, even in a short amount of time, see the results that they need. Because I say this all the time, you can't poison yourself and eat poisonous foods, eat terrible foods for years on end, and then all of a sudden flip and switch and everything's going to fix itself overnight. It didn't fix itself overnight for myself, but I started to cycle sync and I started to effectively change all of the aspects, the products that I use, stopped consuming medicine from Western medicine, started actually using natural medicine, and started to understand how the body operates and started to listen to the body. So I'm not starving myself when I'm hungry, actually supporting the body. And it changed. Not only did my weight shift and changed, I couldn't get under 190. The heaviest was 220s. Couldn't get under 190. Now I haven't even seen 180s. And I don't know how long. I stopped weighing myself years ago before I even went plant-based. And then when I went plant-based, I was weighing myself to make sure I was healthy. And now here I am in the same space where I was when I was weighing myself, not weighing myself. Because I don't have to sit and step on the scale every month, because I'm not throwing my body into an imbalance. But when you're eating meat, when you're eating dairy, when you're eating processed snacks that have terrible toxic ingredients, because I still eat a snack or two. I still have sweets every now and then. But the matter is, I'm not eating toxic ingredients, toxic sugars. I'm not throwing my body into a toxic cycle of mistrust, because your body cannot trust you when you're throwing it off every time you eat. So this is what I mean by, if you are looking to shift this and you are looking for a change, that masterclass that I'm having on the 25th is going to help you be able to do that. It is going to be at 6:30 Central Standard Time. It is going to support you in not only shifting away from the energetic leaks, but getting to the root cause of your block so that we can start making an action plan for you. By the end of that masterclass, you're going to know exactly how you can make a 2-week strategy for yourself that helps you be able to start shifting based on your cycle as a woman. Because you have to start basing your health on your cycle. Because your cycle is a direct connect of how healthy you are. So if you are unhealthy, if you're not supporting the cycle, you have to look at what you're doing throughout the month with each phase, because you have to eat for your phases in order for you to be supported. And if you want to learn more about cycle syncing and learning the phases of your cycle and understanding how a plant-based lifestyle impacts that and supports you eating for your cycle phases, in my Balanced Body program, I dive deeper into that. But if you are in the masterclass, I'm going to have a special going. You'll learn more about that. The masterclass is for 111. It is on September 25th. I keep wanting to say October. It's not October. September 25th. It is happening at 6:30 Central Standard Time. If you want to learn more about the masterclass and what's going on in that masterclass, I don't tell you what the bonuses are yet, but if you get the masterclass replay for 147, you do get 2 bonuses. And you get that replay. If you want to know more, it's linked in my bio. What questions do you guys have for me before I get off? Because I am sitting in my car right now. My dog has a vet appointment, and then I'm about to go and get her and myself ready for in a few hours. It's not too long, but I've been chilling out here outside. I was walking her around for a bit, trying to get her to get a little tired. I didn't take her on a walk today yet because it was raining earlier, and now the sun is out. So if you have any questions, drop any questions. And I appreciate you guys for the likes, the comments, and the follows. All of your engagement helps push out my live, so I do appreciate you guys. So if you have any questions, it's getting a little hot in here now. I'm going to have to open the door in a minute. And if you guys don't have any questions, I hope that this live has supported you fully. And also, if you are not on my email list, I send out a Wellness Wednesday email every single Wednesday. So check out the link in my bio to join that. No questions at all? All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions. I appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you for all the comments. I really appreciate you guys for the support. I will be back tomorrow. I'm going to try to go live every day until the masterclass on Thursday. If you want the masterclass, rather, I will say this for the people who are still here. If you want the masterclass and you are saying, I'm not going to be able to make it, I'm going to be late, or etc., please, you can sign up, DM me, and we will work something out for you. I will have something set for you. And if you are late, that's perfectly fine as well. I will have something special for you, but you have to let me know. If you message me that and you have not booked a ticket, then I'm not going to respond to that, because I have plenty of people who like to say that they want to do things and they don't do things. I am a business owner. I don't have time to go back and forth with all of the questions that you have personally, unless you are booking one-on-ones with me, or unless you are in a class or in the program. That's just not only preserving my energy and my time and what I have going on, but also respect. So if you are new here, I do have a YouTube. Go check out my YouTube. Also, I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day. I am going to head out since I don't see any questions. Thank you guys for the likes, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.